Good morning. Another Monday, and we're going to have a pretty chill week and get ready for next week is what the theme of this week is. Okay, so today we're doing a second concept builder, and this week is going to feel kind of slow, but I'm going to give you the concept builder today, and then I'm going to give you homework on Wednesday, and that's it. But I would encourage you to get caught up because we are going to have a test next week. I will let you know more about what that will look like when I've figured out more of how I'm going to do it. But we are going to have some kind of a test next week over all these equations. So please get caught up on homework. Please ask me questions. Set up a Zoom with me if you want to talk through any of these things that we've done these past couple weeks. So let's get started with today. All right, homework check. Ball is thrown straight up and it reaches zero speed at 4 seconds. So I want two things. What is the ball's speed at 2 seconds? And when will the ball have a speed of 15 meters per second? Go ahead and try it and then check and see how you did compared with my answer. So the first thing you should have done was draw a picture. So I got my ball starting at zero, going up to the top, and when it gets to the top, that's when it's going to have zero speed. So that's kind of the key thing. Zero speed is not at the beginning or the end. Zero speed is at the top. So it took 4 seconds to get up there, has zero speed, and acceleration is always negative 9.8 meters per second squared while it's in the air. So with that information, that's really all I have. I think what I want to do is I want to find the initial velocity first. Because once I have that, then I can use that to find some of the other stuff that we need. So I'm just going to use the basic velocity equals acceleration times time equation and plug all that in. And I get an initial velocity of 39.2 meters per second. So once I have that, then we're going to focus on A, which was what was the ball speed when it was 2 seconds. Well, that's pretty easy because if I want to know what it was at 2 seconds, and I now know its initial velocity, go back to that same equation again, plug in 9.8 meters per second squared. Don't forget the negative for 2 seconds. And we can figure out what our final velocity is, and that's the velocity it would be going at 2 seconds. Now the second part says, what is its speed? Always make sure you read carefully because the speed of 15 meters per second happens twice. It happens when it has a positive 15 meters per second and when it has negative 15 meters per second. So make sure you read carefully. So there's actually two things that we need to find for this one. And again, it's just using that same equation, making sure we have positive 15 for the first one, using our negative 9.8. We solve for 2.47 seconds. Then we do the same thing for negative 15 meters per second. And we can solve it for 5.52 seconds. And you kind of want to ask yourself if things make sense. Well, this would be on the way up, so that would be earlier. And we know it reaches the top at 4 seconds. So that's happening before that 4 seconds. And then negative 15 would be on the way down. So it would be after that 4 seconds. So our two answers make sense. So I want you to do the second concept builder. It's very similar to the one we did last week, but it's a little bit different. So give it a try. It might be a little challenging, but stick with it. And I think once you get the feeling for it, you'll figure it out. Feel free to send me a message, ask me questions if you are completely stuck. And I will push out the homework on Wednesday. But again, the key for this week is get caught up so that next week you can take the test. And we'll talk more about that later this week.